Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Crafty Concepts with Erin. I'm Erin and I have a double page layout for you today. I've got several photos of my beautiful niece here. She's all dressed up in her little fairy wings and elven ears, and she's just looking so cute, like a little pixie fairy. I believe she was at a Celtic fair. I have to check my notes here, but I just love these photos and I think they are going to go great with the Skylark collection. The colors and the theme, it's just going to work out, and I'm actually very excited to create this layout. It's going to be fun. I have already created several layouts featuring this paper collection. I'll leave those videos listed in the description box below, but I ended up buying a second pack because it just, I don't know, it really resonates with me. I love the limeade and the Lagoon together. I think they're so pretty. So let me bring in both of my VersaMats. The Skylark collection is a current special out through the month of January, so it's almost over. You might be able to find it on the website while supplies last after the month, but no guarantees. So I always say if you love it, then, you want to grab that. There's lots of different ways I can arrange these photos. I've got the 3 photos that are 4 by 5.5, and then the 2 smaller supporting photos. I think that I want to separate out the umbrella, or the 2 where she's holding the red umbrella, and maybe put that one in the center. We could go with something like this, which I do really like that configuration. We could also kind of create a column here like this. So many different possibilities, right? But I think I do like this, so we're going to go with this design. And I have selected these papers. This is a scrap left over from one of my previous layouts that I want to try and incorporate into this layout. I always try to use my scraps before cutting into the other pattern papers. That could kind of go there. That fits with the little dovetail banner piece built into the pattern paper up above with the Lagoon stripes. Let's just use my solid paper for now just to see how this is going to look spanning across both pages. I do think these stand out really nicely against that Lagoon background, but I also have this kind of toffee pattern paper here that would work. Let's try this. And you know what? That works well too. I like both of them. So I'm going to take these off camera and I'll get them cut down. Now we can start building up our paper layers. I did go with this beautiful pattern paper. It's going to create kind of a center focal piece across both pages. And then we'll have this distressed Lagoon paper peeking out. This one here is 10 by 3.5. And they're not quite a mirror image because I don't know how far I will extend that one. So I'm not going to cut it yet. We'll kind of make changes as the layout comes together. So I did go with this one to mat my photos. And I do want to ink everything up with my espresso ink. So we'll just go around the edges of all the different pattern papers here. I think it's so fun. My niece has a group of friends willing to dress up and go to these events with her. They have a really good time and love to take pictures, documenting the moment, and I'm thrilled that she shares them with me. Here in our area, every March, we do have an annual Celtic fair, and we also have like a Murphy's Irish Days. They're both really fun, and I used to take my boys every year when they were younger to the Celtic fair, and they always liked the swords and then, like the chainmail that you could put on and just see all of those different things. I thought it was great. So this collection does come with a stencil that has a very similar pattern to what you see on that main center pattern paper, and I want to add just a hint of this. I know I'm going to have a little bit of embellishing going on down in this lower left corner. So I just want to add a little bit of background interest that will be peeking out from underneath my embellishments. So I'm using a blending brush, which does apply this color nice and soft, but you can easily build it up. If you want it darker, just keep going over that area. But again, I just want a hint of that pattern. So I'm blotting it off where my photos will be, and then taking my brush directly to the area that will be visible. Since I introduced this stenciling, I want to repeat that elsewhere on the layout. So we'll just kind of mirror the opposite side here and repeat the process, adding just a very soft hint of that color. Again, blotting it off from where I know my photos are going to be covering, and then going directly to paper. So it just gives you that lighter intensity. My friend Janice just created several projects featuring this stencil. She did a scrapbook layout and a bunch of cards just from a stenciled background. It was really neat. I'll leave her video listed in the description box below. If you haven't watched that, you'll definitely want to check it out. But we can bring in all of our little paper layers here. You can see I did cut out the section that's hidden behind these photos to save for a future project. And then we'll bring these back in here. And I do have this piece of pattern paper I cut off of that section. And I thought, you know what, why not just add this so it seems like one continuous piece running across the double page. But since I inked up the other side, I definitely want to mimic that on this side so that they have a more cohesive feel. And we'll just get that tucked in right there and bring these onto that Lagoon background. Now, for my embellishments, I had a lot of fun cutting out a bunch of ferns. This is the Cricut images here, and I have a Cricut access, so I just looked up ferns and mushrooms and cut those out. But these little mushrooms right here, these layering mushrooms, these are from the Cozy Up digital collection from Close to My Heart, which was a super cute fall collection. And I have been waiting for an opportunity to use these mushrooms because they are adorable. I also have these old pocket cards in my stash that were from the original Skylark collection. So I want to try and use as many as I can with this paper pack. So this one here says field notes, and I just thought that that was very appropriate, and I want to include it somewhere on the layout. So just as kind of a layering element, I'm not going to journal on it. I just want to have it in the background somewhere because I like the dragonfly and I like the field notes. I think that's really cute. So maybe over here. This will act as kind of a base layer to build up my embellishment cluster on. I don't want to cover up too much of that stenciling. Now for my mushrooms, the stalks were cut from shortbread and the caps are from the espresso cardstock. My ferns are cut from limeade and jade paper. And then for this little mushroom from the Cozy Up collection, I thought it might be fun to add a little bit of sparkle. This is, I believe this is the Solar Flare Stickles from Ranger, and I forgot my palette knife, so I'm just using my finger. It's okay to get a little messy. We wash, right? So I'm going to just give this a little sparkle and set that aside to dry. I also have some stickers from the coordinating sticker sheet. This one says, "You make me happy," and I think it's going to fit perfectly right in there. And then I can tuck some of the ferns underneath, so they're just kind of like they're growing out from behind that sentiment and overlapping the photos. We'll just kind of arc them both up and down and create this beautiful cluster of this greenery. I was surprised how well these ferns cut out because they are very intricate and delicate. So we've got our mushrooms. I do want to create a little embellishment cluster up top here. I cut several more, and you can make these whatever size you want. There's also this little version here where you're kind of seeing more of the underside of the mushroom. And then we'll kind of tuck this guy right here, just varying the heights of the mushrooms as they go across. I have a few more stickers and pocket cards I want to try to incorporate. This sticker says dream, and I think this will work nicely for a title. A title element does not have to be this big giant focal point. It can be a smaller element on the page. Plus, this will be nice having the little ferns kind of coming out from underneath that piece. I'm thinking of maybe adding some ferns here to this upper area. So we've got that beautiful bird already on the pattern paper, and I thought we can just kind of accentuate that with a few ferns. I have some other sprigs that I cut out also from my stash. These are just tinier little greenery sprigs that I can kind of nestle around into different areas. I want a little something more behind my title element here. I cut a circle from espresso paper thinking that this would be a little bit more substantial and help that title pop a little bit better. But I also have this envelope die that I am loving. So let me grab that and we can kind of play around with that also. It is from the Love Notes collection, which is a current Valentine collection. It's got a stamp set and all these coordinating dies. I've already used the paper here on my channel for another video, but how cute is this? I've cut that from shortbread cardstock, and maybe instead of the circle, we can use this little envelope feature. I've got some ideas for what I can put inside of it, but I'll tuck some ferns coming from out behind the envelope here. For a very natural organic feel, you want some kind of arcing up, some kind of curving down, and I'm going to put them in almost like a little visual triangle in 3 places around the envelope here. And then the little dream sticker for our title. Now there is a coordinating stamp set for the Skylark collection, and there is this really pretty element on here. It's just kind of a decorative element, and I was thinking maybe that would work to stamp on the envelope. It like fits perfectly, almost like it's made for the triangular shape of the envelope. Let me clear a little section for stamping. Now I want to use the Lagoon ink and stamp some of the dragonflies that are an image on this stamp set. I thought they'd be fun to fussy cut out and add to my embellishment cluster. So we'll just stamp a couple of these little guys here. And then for the decorative element on the inside of the envelope flap, I'm going to use espresso ink. So we can just kind of line this up. Again, I can't believe how perfect this stamp is for the envelope. You would think it was intended for it. Just another little pretty visual detail. So I have a couple remaining pocket cards, and this one here, it has this little file tab, and I thought that might be kind of fun peeking out. So actually, let's use a little guillotine trimmer so we end up with two usable pieces and not a crooked line here. I'm going to cut off the top to layer behind this. Let me just ink up the edges really quick. I want to fill up the space just a little bit because on the left-hand side, we go almost to the edge of the layout, and then we have this big white space over here. So I thought just a few strategically layered pocket cards would kind of fill that space and balance out the other side. I remembered I have a fairy stamp in my collection that was sent to me by fellow crafter Lori. So Lori, if you're out there watching, thank you so much. It was such a sweet surprise to receive in the mail. And it is going to be the perfect addition for this page. So I'm stamping it on a pocket card and I want to tuck it into that envelope. So let's, I'm going to fussy cut out just the tag element, but actually let's see if this fits here into that envelope. And it does. This pocket card fits perfectly. That's a 3x4 pocket card, so you know what size will fit in the envelope. But I don't want it to cover up the background too much, so I am going to fussy cut this out. The sentiment says, there are fairies at the bottom of our garden. They often have a dance late into the night. The butterflies and bees make a lovely little breeze, and a mouse stands and holds the light. I think it's just so cute and perfect. I have another layout I created with these same mushrooms and ferns, and I cannot wait to share it with you because, I don't know, I think these mushrooms are just the cutest things. Everything I used to create this layout will be listed in the description box below. You can see where I added those dragonflies there. There's one up top and then one over by the title on the left-hand side. But yeah, I love the way this turned out, and I hope you do too. Go ahead and hit that thumbs up button if you enjoyed this video. And if you're not already a subscriber, I invite you to hit that subscribe button and join the fun. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you very soon.